First of all, good to see everybody.
Yeah,
again.
for sure. Hey, big ups though. We're home.
We are home. And we felt it was only right because we have our feet firmly planted in the world of business now.
Yes, sir.
And we figured why not have somebody we like doing business with on the show.
Yeah.
And we got to know him a little while ago, and I always wondered, I was like, man, this has got a super cool name. And in the midst of us getting some business done recently, I had to call him and say, hey, man, tell me the story behind your name.
Yeah. The name is everything.
Yeah,
too.
that name means a lot. So, we'll introduce him here or whatnot, but I just thought, given where we are, coming off of the end of the holiday season, technically, right, between Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, all that stuff, like his name is just apropos for this time of the year.
Yeah. I love it. Welcome back to the Vision Lab podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Cuffey, alongside my co-host, Mr. Ryan Mosley. The Vision Lab is the official growth mindset podcast to all visionaries worldwide. We're showing mad love to the cigar community. It's here in the lab where we uncover people's visions and dreams and how those dreams actually come into reality. Yo, I am super excited about this one. This is, my homie, a dude that I've known for a very, very long time, and it's an honor to have him jump into the lab. Without further ado, Mo, who do we got on the show today?
Cuff, today's guest is a native of Arlington, Texas. He is a realtor, a businessman, a husband, a father of four, and we like doing business with him. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mesiah Valentine to the Vision Lab podcast.
What's going on? What's going on? What it do, fellas?
What up, what up, what up?
Appreciate the invite.
So, we're in the business world now, Cuff. We got things going on multiple levels.
Yeah.
And so, we got a deal knocked out right for the calendar flip. And I just called him one day. I was like, hey, why is your name Mesiah?
Like he picked it out or something.
Yeah, like he was in charge of that, right?
I love asking people that too, by the way. When I first meet them, I was like, oh, that's a beautiful name. That's a unique name. What did you pick that out? It's always funny.
Right. Like, he and I talk pretty frequently now, right? And I said, why is your name Mesiah? He's like, I was born on Christmas Eve. And then as he's talking and looking at my phone, his last name is Valentine. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of coming off of Valentine's Day. Like, good Lord, man. Like, your name is just apropos. Like, how much crap did you take with the first name Mesiah when you were growing up?
Bro, you would not be let down to know there's a very good conversation starter. It's a great way to pull out your ID, verify your age. Oh, you don't believe my name? Oh, bet. Pull out your name.
There it is.
Hey, bro, where the other S at? No, man. For God, not for me. People ask me all the time, what was your birthday is in June? I guess I would have named August or something. I don't know.
It's first of all, it's really good seeing you, bro.
Likewise.
Big fan of you, everything that you do. I think it's apropos because I've known Mesiah since, fourth grade, fifth grade-ish? Since you were...
Yeah, Mount Olive.
Yeah. Shout out to MOBC.
Man.
Pastor Thompson, Pastor Robinson. Listen, rest in peace for sure. Those were some monumental memories that we were able to create.
Absolutely.
Back in the day.
Did you go to the school?
No, I didn't. Did you?
I had Miss Ransom. Deacon Cunningham was next. Anyway.
Well, foul.
We was cutting up.
Miss Ransom. Wow, that's a blast from the past. But, we have deep roots. You know what I mean? I know that obviously a lot of folks that were in the mid '90s, early 2000s really went through Mount Olive. If you were in the Arlington area, right? Like you either went to Mount Olive or you went to Cornerstone.
That was it.
At that time.
At that time.
And I love reflecting and looking back on that time, because it helped to shape the lives of so many people, right? As churches do. How impactful was especially with a name like Messiah, right? How impactful was your upbringing in the church from an experience perspective?
He didn't have a choice. His name was Messiah.
Right. But he wasn't the chosen one. See, you just need to tell people, I don't have the other S because I'm not the chosen one.
There you go. But I will say this. Mount Olive was really the thing that made Texas official for me. So we relocated from California when I was about 7. My granddad drove us here. And my granny had actually attended the church and still does, Bertie Ford. And she said, I remember her and my dad talking. And I just remember, like, man, I always knew that God was my compass, even as a kid.
Right.
My dad used to tell me, I can't leave you with much, but I can leave you with the word, which word is absolute. So friendships is one thing. The summer leagues, you know what I mean?
Man, it went down.
The summer camp, you know what I mean? So I love Mount Olive. My parents still go there.
Wow.
I'm sure you know that. They still go there. They sit in that far right pew, third row back, like clockwork.
Yeah.
And I really love all the people I met. You'd be surprised how many actually still keep in contact with, that we play AAU basketball with, that we play football against. So that church environment at that time really just set the temperature for what Texas would be relocating here.
Now, you've been here obviously for a while, so you're a Texan.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Let's get into kind of who you are and what you do and how you got to this place in life.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Go ahead.
So my dad moved us here just simply because where we lived in California was not that great. If you're from the Bay Area, you're from Oakland, you know Sabrani Park. Blood neighborhood, anything could go down. We just wasn't about that. I know when we moved, having a front yard was a big deal. It kind of set what we trying to do, have a front yard, have a backyard, and have to worry about getting shot at, all type of crazy stuff. Growing up, I will say, meeting people like the Cuffeys, meeting people like the Vincents, meeting people like the Turners, meeting people like the Sanders, they kind of was that village, right? Village raised you. So I've always had a sense of community. So us sitting here, being able to relax, have some drink, have a cigar, is really about community for me. My professional career, people don't believe this, but I am a chemist. I'm a nerd of nerds, bro. My degree is in chemistry.
Okay.
But I knew that was more so like what I like to do, but I knew that wasn't going to be what I did. My professional career has been tumultuous. I've gone through Hurricane Katrina, and what I thought I was going to be doing in New Orleans, I wasn't. Wasn't expecting to meet my beautiful wife, and I did. And really wasn't even expecting to have any friends that I hadn't met yet, and I do. I think that one of the coolest things about where I am now as an agent is it allows me to sum up all my experiences, good and bad. I've been fired from jobs for no other reason than just being me. I've gotten jobs because of the connections I've made, so I'm always about connections. It's really, really cool to be able to see how your life was at 20, 25, 30, 35, and just turned 36, what can be done in a short amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think a lot of times when people are going through things, you know, struggles, tumultuous times, I think was the word that you used, we often look at that and think that that's the way that it is, you know, long term or forever, right? Yep. And I know you and I have had these conversations offline about seasons and having, you know, particular seasons in life. And I, as a man of faith, like I believe in seed time harvest, right? And you know, positive or negative, right? Like you could, if you're planting bad seed, you give it time, you're going to reap a bad harvest, you know, and vice versa. If you're planting good seed consistently and you give it the amount of time, you're going to reap a good harvest. So, you know, going through what you kind of went through, I want you to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and give our visionaries, and by the way, that's what we call everybody that tunes into the show. Again, if you know you're new to the show, please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on all of our social media platforms as well as on YouTube. But you know, for all of our visionaries, like talk about going through specific seasons and what type of mindset you need to have, if you're in a tough season right now.
Got you. So I think that the toughest season that I went through was so I got 4 kiddos. I got a 14-year-old, have a soon-to-be 10-year-old, have a soon-to-be 8-year-old, and little me is about to be 3. So
At least you spaced it out.
Sort of. My wife was done.
Yeah,
bro.
you
My
asked
son
his
is a
wife how
blessing.
she felt about it.
If you'd ask me between my youngest daughter being born and my son, you could ask me, hey, bro, we about to get something to eat. You hungry? I want a son. What you say? We about to go to the store. What you need? A son? Functions. Anyway, I spoke that into existence. But the season that I think really, really gave me the motivation to pursue working for myself and not having a boss was we had a very, very traumatic experience where my second oldest daughter was bitten in the face by a Rottweiler,
Ooh.
110-pound Rottweiler. So my wife almost passed out. And it broke me down because I was helpless. This was the one time that daddy wasn't there. And I had just gotten a great job, had been working there, was actually going in for a bonus. I had met my quota. I come from the pharmacy tech world. I was working at a pharmacy technology company. It was great. My clients were great. Everybody was good. And then, boom, get a call from my mother-in-law saying, hey, son, just want to let you know, Saria got bit by the dog.
Now, was this your dog?
I'm about to tell you why this was trying.
Okay.
This was her parents' dog.
Ooh.
So you're visiting the grandparents. My wife had just left. She had been home a day, and we get that call. I don't think I've ever rode on a plane before and not said a word, but I had a whole conversation in my head. So I asked her 3 questions. I said, do you think she's going to survive? She said, yes, son. She said, I'm hoping so. I'm praying so. I said, okay. Is anything detached? She said, no, son. Everything is still there. And I said, has she been disfigured at all? And she said, I don't know. And that was good enough for me. I worked at a small company that didn't allow us to take FMLA. So, and I had a boss whose child was a 5-pound dog. So understanding the compassion of what a family man takes to endure and provide for his family, she didn't understand. So I can imagine, I can really put myself back in walking down the longest hallway in a hospital you've ever seen and not knowing what I was going to see. Because I had no idea. This dog was strong enough to bite through a chain. But the Lord saw fit to save my daughter's life. She didn't die. And, man, she wasn't talking. You hear all those monitors beeping. And the only thing I could think of was when she was born. I could just remember every day of when she was born. And I ended up getting fired from that job for performance. And I said, how do I go from a raise to fired and my daughter is fighting for her life? Well, our company boss said, don't even worry about it. Do you need to get it? Don't even worry about it.
Now, are you saying that you got fired within days?
3 weeks. And she knew that she had to have surgery. I even took my work with me. And the fact that I had applied for FMLA, I said, you know what? If I don't land my dream job, I'm never working for anybody else again. And it let me know people do not care. Do not care at all. And if you run across somebody that has compassion but still business-minded and can understand a situation as unique as that kind of shaped me for, okay, unless I land something that's tremendous, I'm working for myself.
Like I tell Mo all the time, or used to at least, you know, we everybody has an expiration date. And the moment that you pass, they will have a job posting in the paper faster than your obituary will be out.
That's crazy, man.
You know what I mean? And we so many of us become slaves to the employer, right? Because we just want to make our ends meet.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're just an employee number. You know, whatever 00492, that's your number. And when you put your 2 weeks in or you pass along, like they're gonna be recruiting to fill your seat, to fill your slot, no matter who you are, no matter if you're we had a guy when we worked together that was killing it, right, at our multimedia firm, crushing it, setting records left and right. But guess what? One day he left or was fired or whatever happened. But guess what? The next day we still were up there doing our jobs. It doesn't matter.
They ain't stopped work.
So I first of all, thank you, brother, for your transparency and your authenticity on that, because I know that's a very, very tough as a father, and we're all fathers of daughters, right? To have to not be able to do anything for your child or children and feel helpless and hopeless, but only have your hope in Christ. I appreciate you sharing that story.
Absolutely. You know what? Just to put a bow on that, one of the top facial reconstruction surgeons just happened to be at Johns Hopkins when she was there. And he had heard about this little girl that was telling all the nurses that I can take my own medicine. I got it. And he did her surgery. And unless I told you, you would not know anything was wrong.
Look at him work.
You mean to tell me
Ain't he good, though?
Man, bro, that's what get me choked up, because he could have been anywhere. Anything could have happened.
Or he didn't have to.
Or he didn't have to, right? I'm here for a symposium. I can come and go. And 2 surgeries later, man, she's vibrant. She's healthy. She loves animals.
Oof.
Ain't that crazy? And she's young enough to not even remember. So I'm thankful, man.
Is there an animal in y'all's house now?
He's very small. He's a rough dog. He's about the size of my 12 shoe.
All right, I was gonna say.
Shifu.
So allow me to transition. This being the Vision Lab, and we all kind of speak the same language on things. So at that moment, again, I'm happy to hear that she's doing well. You've made this mental transition, and I will no longer be at the mercy of somebody else in terms of employment.
Yep.
So once the dust settled after her situation, what was your next step? How did you go about saying, okay, I need to be in a position where I can do what I have to do as far as being a family man, but also to not be at the beck and call of somebody else in terms of employment?
Yeah, I'm curious. Talk us through the mentality of your transition into,
because we know it now or
Right.
whatnot. You and I have had plenty of conversations, but for those who who are hearing or seeing you for the first time.
Yeah. So at the time, my wife had a thriving business. We was good, financially good. Kids was in school, private school where we wanted to be. Everything was good. So her income done. So going from a 2-income household to a 1 under normal circumstances would have been a hell of a transition, right? Man, I got some good friends. Man, I had a partner that basically helped me get a job as a national sales manager, doing what I already knew to do. So sales has always been in my blood. If I got a job that got more typing than talking to people, I'm not good with that. I love people. And he got me on. And I was working, selling across the country. I was coast to coast with it. But before I took that job, mind you, I told you about my son, right? That if you ask me any family event, I tell you I want a son. The Lord spoke to me as clearly as we talking now. He said, if you want a son, you got to do 3 things. You got to keep his name a secret. You can't know the sex. And you have to work for yourself. And this job that you get, I'm giving you 1 year. 1 year. That's all you get. The Lord is so funny. Y'all guess how long was I on that job?
6 months.
Nope. 363 days.
367 days, because the Lord got a sense of humor. I was there for 1 year and 2 days. I started on July 16th, and my last day was July 18th of the following year. And guess what? My wife said, I'm feeling sick. I said, I'm feeling tired. I said, that's a boy. oh yeah, that's me right there. I already know that's me right there. She said, how you know? I said, because I felt it in my rib and I went to sleep. And y'all know that sleep be different.
This is true.
So that transition at that job added more skills because it got me more business savvy because it was a small company. You guys worked at small companies. The job you have a description for is not the job you ended up doing. Ended up learning marketing. Ended up learning Facebook, Instagram, target audiences, all those things that would help me be a better agent or whatever it was that I decided I wanted to do.
You gotta wear all the hats.
Yeah, all the hats. So working for yourself, before you can pay somebody and know what they're supposed to be doing, you should know what they're supposed to be doing by doing it. So that was the transition, man. 1 year, 2 days.
So transition takes place. You now have left corporate America.
Yep.
What type of mentality do you have to have?
You have to
To
be
thrive.
able to thrive. You have to be willing to walk across the trapeze with no net and know you're going to make it.
Burn the boats.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Don't look down. Keep your balance. Move forward. Step by step. You know the rope is there. You know you're supposed to be there. You know you can't fall, but that fear doesn't stop you from doing what you're supposed to do. So at that time, we hadn't had our house long. So when I left that job, it was no income, child on the way. No, he hadn't even got here yet. 3 kids and a new mortgage. You tell me if that don't inspire your hustle, I don't know what would.
And on top of that, new industry.
New industry. So I went to real estate school. I got my real estate license total in 6 weeks. I went during the day. I went at night. I went on the weekend. And I did odd jobs. All them skills I learned when my mom and dad didn't have enough money to renovate their duplexes, laying floors, paint. I was doing all them odd jobs. All of them, just to make ends meet. But all those experiences had prepared me to make sure we didn't miss a meal, mortgage got paid. My wife looked at me way different because I was a W-2 guy. She's like, I didn't even know you had that in you. Yes, ma'am. Thoroughbred.
Huh. So close the gap for me. You've been in farm sales or,
Yep.
that
Sales.
industry.
Yep.
But when and why real estate?
So real estate, if I've had great experiences. The gentleman I work with now, Chris, shout out to Chris. He actually was my realtor. And he said, man, you're asking me a lot of questions. You ever considered it? Well, remind you, I'm transitioning. I can't just set out on my own. My daughter just had surgery. You know what I mean? I'm looking for something stable. But that transition, man, I will tell you is accumulation of all your skills, everything that you were trying to do. And when I decided it was going to be real estate, it allowed me the flexibility and the potential of income where I could bet on myself, where I could leverage the skills I had learned already and put them into an industry where your relationships, treating people with dignity and respect, having a word, being accountable, following up, all those things that I had done in a job for somebody else, I knew that I could do this real estate thing. I've been in real estate since 12, been sitting at title offices when I was not even tall enough to sit up over the counter and see. My parents took me. They let me see that and get exposed to that. So it's really something that it took me a while to realize what I was supposed to be doing, but I did it.
Mm.
It's great to hear your story because, like I said earlier, you and I have had plenty of conversations and we all see things the same way. We all think the same way. When I say the word vision, what's the first thing that pops in your mind?
Say it a little louder for people in the back.
I love
Vision. My vision, when I think of vision, I think about what's going to be on my tombstone.
it. Ooh, explain.
I've seen, like we all have, we've been to our share of funerals, and I think your tombstone says what people feel and think about you when you can't. So if my vision is realized, then my tombstone will read, great father, great friend, man of God. I'm good with that. If that's what I leave here, and my kids know that I love them, my wife know that I love them, and everybody that I come across and sharing a space with knows that I had their best interest in mind, I'm good with that. So my vision, when you say vision, Mo, is what would possibly be on my tombstone.
Watch this, Cuff. When I say the word dedication, what comes to your mind?
Man, this is dedication. I mean, I think of Nip. You know what I'm talking about? When you work in any industry and you don't feel like it's a burden to get up, then you're dedicated to it.
Ooh, that's me all day. You already know.
Man, I already know. Mo, what you doing? Hey, man, I'm getting to it.
Yeah.
Hey, man, what you doing? It's 6 o'clock in the morning. Hey, man, getting to it. 9 o'clock at night. Hey, bro, I'm going to call you back. It might be today, tomorrow. But tomorrow, today, I'm like, Mo, just call me back, bro.
Man, you ain't never
Just
lied.
call me back, bro.
You never lied. And kudos to you for introducing us and introducing him to the crew, right? Because, you know, he's an honorary member of the crew anyway at this point.
Well, let me talk about this story on how this happened. I'll never forget it.
Yes.
Mavericks game.
Because I remember when you first said, I was like, ain't no dude out here named Messiah. Like, what are you talking about?
So you know, we have season tickets to the Mavericks or whatever, and my brother and I were talking real estate.
Shout out to Drew.
Yeah, shout out to
What up,
Drew. 10. I call him 10.
Everybody get a number?
No, just some people. But it just comes to me. Everybody has a nickname though. But anyways, we ride the train out there and we're just talking about real estate. We're talking about some of the deals that, you know, that we worked on or we're getting done or whatever. And talking about vision and this, that, and the third. We go to the game, don't think anything of it. And it's just one of those things where I'm very fortunate to have run in a lot of different circles, and so I know a lot of people, and I think our last name is pretty identifiable, right?
Very.
And so by circumstance, we just know a lot of people, you know what I mean? And it's like anytime we go out, like I run into 1, 2, 5 people, you know, that I know. So we're walking literally, bro, head was down, and I think Drew saw you. And it was like, yo, that's Messiah right there. And we were just talking, or he was just talking about you on the train ride out there or whatever. I'm talking about God working. You understand what I'm saying? And so we were like, I bullshit you not. Like we were just talking about you on the train ride out there. And so we ran into you or whatever. And because it was the whole thing with Jaron, and Jaron had talked to, I guess you had talked to Jaron at one point. Yep. And so we had that conversation, and we run into Messiah as the game was over with. And I hadn't seen Messiah a decade, easy. Maybe 15 years.
We were all meant to meet each other. That's the way this all worked out. So
we chop it up, exchange numbers, tell him like, hey, you know, we got some projects that we're working on, yada, yada, yada. And left it at that. I said, yo, I'm gonna get up with you, da, 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 da. So I don't know how much time had passed, but I do remember it was a February because I was out I was at Whole Foods, and I was trying to get, I don't know if I was coming out of the grocery store or going into the grocery store. And Messiah and I, you talk about dedication, right, and vision. Messiah and I were on the phone for like an hour and a half, just talking about the projects, what we did, and to me, it showed me how committed he was. You know, you've used the word relationship a lot, right? Yeah. It showed how invested he was, and he wasn't our realtor. I mean, we were just chopping up about, you know, the industry at large and some of the challenges that we had identified, and here's some possible solutions that Messiah could be of assistance with, and so on and so forth. And so that conversation led into another conversation, which led into another one, and then, you know, we're on the phone at midnight.
That was definitely midnight, my dog.
Yeah.
My wife was like, boy,
yeah, because I remember the next day.
No, this is like multiple occasions.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
The first time I heard your name, he was like, man, he's like, Mo, he's like, me and Drew at the game. He said we ran to a dude we used to go to church with, and then he said his name Messiah, and in my head I was like, you know, dude named Messiah, whatever. But then he's like, Mo, we were on the phone till like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. I was like, all right, cool, no problem, da, da, da. But then lo and behold, look where we are from there to present day, and it's awesome.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at, right? Like, you want to surround yourself with like-minded people, right? And we know the dog and the tenacity and the work ethic that you have, right? And to see somebody else with that same drive, that same energy, that same work ethic, if not better, right? for me, I like to surround myself with people like that because I know I'm going to be hustling and getting it.
Straight
I don't go to bed till 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes. And so I just appreciate that from you. And for visionaries that are listening, right? Like, how important is it to develop good work habits?
Paramount. Is that a good word? Is that a good SAT word, Mo?
Yes, sir.
Paramount. If you have one chance to walk across a bridge the right way and it could easily burn behind you, I would tell you guys, I think without a shadow of a doubt, if you ask someone or talk to someone that I work with, come across with, always treat you with respect and dignity, I request and expect it back. But we can leave from that space knowing that we shared a little time together. And you got visionaries.
Yeah.
You never know who you are talking to until you've met them. So do not sell that interaction short. You never know who. I've shared the elevator with one of the VPs at Ebony, at Essence, and didn't even know until he reached out to me on LinkedIn. He looked me up. This dude makes millions of dollars, but it was that short interaction. So don't ever take any interaction, any chance to share any information with somebody that's like-minded with you for granted.
I'm going to take it a step further. The interaction that you have with people, right? It leaves a lasting impression. That person maybe they're the busboy at a restaurant right now.
Yep.
But you don't know what that future looks like.
Yes, sir.
You don't know what's beholding them to them.
Yes, sir.
And they could be the next X.
Whatever, yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then you come back looking at them like, man, I wish I wouldn't have treated you so poorly, right?
What the saying is, be careful of the toes you step on, because one day they might be connected to the foot that's going to be up your ass. Or the other version is be careful of the toes you step on, because they might eventually be connected to the butt that you have to kiss one day.
Oh
boy,
I would have said connected to the hands that have to pull you up.
All of the above.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like-minded people. I've said many a time on this show, and Messiah can tell you, just when it comes to just work, period, not even the stuff that we do, but just when it just comes to trying to get something done, my theme for 2023 is action and execution. I don't want to have the same conversation 10 times in a row. I don't. Let's talk about it 2 or 3 times, work out the bugs, and let's go. And then if we figure out along the way that we can't do it, all right, cool. But I do not want to stay in neutral forever and a day. And you're right. We have found somebody who is like-minded in regards to getting something done and just thinking outside of the box and thinking that stuff can get done if we really apply ourselves to it. And for visionaries, we're knocking on the door in March, which I got a birthday at the end of the week.
I know. Shout out to you.
Thank you, very
Big 50.
Right. Oh, hell no. Hell no. You're older than me. But visionaries, we're about to be the end of Q1 here, and before you blink your eyes, of 2023. If you have not found like-minded people in whatever industry or vertical that you work in, or whatever it is that you want to pursue in life, if you have not found like-minded people, I suggest you hurry up and do it.
Seek them out.
It'll be a whole lot easier to get something done when you're working with like-minded people. What does James say? If you want to go fast, go by yourself. But you want to go far, get a team.
That's right.
Boy.
That's 100% true.
I would suggest that you find a tribe that works like you work or thinks like you think. Otherwise, it's tough sledding out here.
So let's bridge the gap for those visionaries, right? Messiah is our realtor, okay? You're in the real estate game for a number of years. We're in a recession, right? People are very fearful. You've got first-time home buyers.
I prefer the term market correction from my perspective, but
That's exactly what
I
I would
understand.
say.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
No argument. But you got first-time home buyers. You got expanding families. You got people that are moving into the DFW Metroplex. And obviously this is a national situation, though, but focusing here, what does the market look like? Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. As a realtor, what are our expectations? And totally understand you don't have a crystal ball, but what do you see happening?
So let's go back a little bit. People have to understand when you're at the historic low of something, the only direction it can go is up. That's usually the first conversation I have. The question that you ask, Big Cuff, is the first question I get. Messiah, how is the market looking? And you know what my response is? Not even trying to be coy. Depends on your perspective. So if we're talking from the perspective that you are letting your goals be trumped by fear, then your outlook is going to be pessimistic.
You weren't about it in the first place.
You weren't
in my
about
opinion.
it. You weren't about it. So how the market looks is a matter of perspective. So once we have aligned our perspective, the conversation goes a little bit further. Does the market align with your goals? The goals are based on the individual. So whenever I have a consultation, 30 minutes, I can do one of those 2 or 3 a week is what I'm doing now, because people are realizing that from 2020 and 2021, when you needed $40,000, $50,000 cash, we're going to more of an equilibrium where there's just as many buyers as there are sellers. So you have an opportunity now to negotiate in ways we haven't been able to do for the last 2 years. So my last 4 deals have gotten closing costs, and we've gotten seller concessions, and we've gotten a reduction in price because we have more choices now. So if you're a buyer in this market, no, working with me or any other savvy agent, shoot your shot. The only thing the seller can tell you is no, hell no, or let's talk. And if they reply back, then that's all the green light that we need.
And so, how does your overall income affect the type of house that you can afford?
Okay. It is not just your income. It is several things. So I try to break it down. Man, did I give you a script, bro? Did I?
I've done this once or twice.
Okay. All right, man. Feel like we reading off. You reading off a note card.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Arian Foster says it's all scripted.
Yeah.
did he? He's
Yeah.
talking about
A month ago he said
It's
that.
all scripted.
bro. Yeah, somebody breaking their legs. Anyway, Arian tripping. So your income is one of the indicators, but it's mainly around your debt to income. How much of your income is going towards debt? Because as a lender is looking at, can you absorb whatever your mortgage payment is going to be? So average household income, you guys are economics PhDs. What's the average income right now?
The average American worker, I believe, is like, I think it's like the average size like $45,000-$50,000 or something like that.
Okay, so
Someone
let's
I would say
do a
65.
round number that goes into months. So let's do 48,000. Let's do that.
$4,000 a month.
Let's do $4,000 a month. So your income will be determined based on your debt to income. This is one of the main things a lender will look at. Is let's say you make $4,000 a month, they want your debt to income to be somewhere between 35 and 45%. There's special programs that allow that to go up. So if you make $4,000 a month, you want to be debt to income about $2,800, $2,900 a month.
Now, for those that don't understand, what is debt to income ratios?
Great question. So your debt to income is exactly what it says. It is how much debt do you have relative to your income. So you got gurus like Dave Ramsey, books you've read that say your mortgage payment shouldn't be more than 30% of your total income.
Correct.
Well, that number is in a vacuum because there's so many things that contribute to your total income. Whether you take home could be depending on your kids, or whether you're taking home someone if you get bonuses. So debt to income is how much debt do you have relative to your income.
Now, are you talking about your net income or your gross income?
Depends. So your net income is what's called on your front end. They want that number to be between 26 and 30%. And if you look at your gross income is your front end, 25, 28%. But most people look at their net, what they take home, because that's what's going to be on your
That's what you're
W-2.
actually getting. What you're actually getting in
That's
your wallet.
exactly what you're taking home, which is why that percentage can go up to 45, 48%.
Now, there's different type of GSEs that exist. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac,
Yep.
Ginnie Mae,
Yep.
and then you also have FHA.
Yep.
Could you talk about the difference? And you don't have to go, deep into the weeds,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
just
I got
surface level, like what the differences are for in terms of lending capacity for the consumer.
Great question. So when you are looking at whether or not you're going to do one of the 4 major types, obviously VA, if you're a veteran and you are not using your VA benefits, you serve this country, you've put your life on the line, absolutely should go after your VA benefits. We don't have as many USDA loans here, but that's another loan type with 0% down. But 85% of people is going to fall between FHA and conventional. So the pros and cons of this is going to be really 2 things. FHA has a lower barrier of entry at 3.5%. However, you carry what's called MIP, which is mortgage insurance premium. That's for the life of the loan. So your entry point to get into the club is only $10, but you're going to pay more for your drinks. Is that a good analogy?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Conventional, you're going to pay a little bit more to get
And
in.
real quick, just
Yep.
to clarify,
Yep.
when you say 3.5, you're talking about
Down payment.
3.5% down. So if you have a $100,000 house, you have to put $3,500 down on the house to
Yes,
qualify.
plus your closing costs.
Okay, and yeah, I want to get into that.
Gotcha.
Well, actually, since we're talking FHA, let's go ahead and tackle that. So I want to make sure that people understand that it's not just I need to only have 3,500.
Correct.
And I need to have a DTI of 48%, right, or 45%. You also have to have the money for the closing costs.
Yep.
Which typically, what does that look like? Average.
Yeah.
Closing?
So closing costs is all the money associated with originating your loan. That's the title fees, your lender's origination fees. That usually ranges between 1.5% and 2.5%. So if somebody were to ask me, hey, I'm looking at a $300,000 house, I would tell them you would need about $18,000, about 6%. You're 3.5% down, and then 2.5% for closing costs, because we won't know what a loan officer will charge you to originate, but the fees associated with closing are kind of state regulated here in Texas. So a good number is 6%. That's the money I need for FHA loan.
Now, do I have to pay closing costs?
Depends, and that's what goes back. That's what's lovely about this market is that now we're in a market where there's just as many sellers and buyers, where if your agent is savvy enough and knows how to approach it, you can get some of your closing costs paid by the seller. So yes, you need to have that money to start off with because you don't know what deal you're going to be negotiating, but I am asking for closing costs on every single offer.
Now, you're getting ready to transition before I cut you off.
Yep.
Into what? Conventional? Okay.
Yes. So FHA, $10 to get in the club, your drink's going to cost more. Conventional, on the other hand, it's usually 3 to 5%, which the 3% is gone, but it does exist, a 97% loan to value. But most of the time, your down payment is going to be 5%. So a little bit more to get in the club. However, your private mortgage insurance, so FHA is MIP, and with conventional, it's PMI. That goes away when your loan to value reaches 80%. So on a $100,000 house, once you've paid that mortgage down to $80,000, you can call and say, hey, I'm at a 20% threshold. They'll come and do an appraisal, and they'll take off that insurance. So you get in the club a little bit more, but your overall cost of the loan is less. So that's really the main difference that people don't think about. And then FHA at closing, you have to pay your full MIP for the entire year. Mm-hmm. So if that's $4,000, that's why your closing costs are a little bit higher on an FHA loan.
And it's important to note, there's two ways on a conventional loan that you can get rid of PMI,
yep.
right? And that is either the value of the house appreciates,
yep.
or you pay that note down to that 20% threshold,
yep.
and then request an appraisal.
That's why so many people refinance in 20 and 21 is not necessarily because they paid down. It's because their value went up so high, it left a 20% meat on the bone. And all you do is call and get your appraisal. That could range $450 to $750 depending on the size of the house in the area. And they say, okay, I can get rid of my MIP. So on some homes, it could be $125. But if you have a $500,000 or $600,000 house, that's $300 or $400 that just comes off for the cost of doing an appraisal one time.
Yeah. I want to ask this question because people ask all the time. We're talking about appraisals.
Yep.
Does adding a pool add value to the house? And I know you're not an appraiser or an inspector, but as a realtor, does adding a pool to the house enhance or add value to the home?
Yes, but there's a caveat. Do not add a pool to your house to add value. Don't do that. You want to put in solar panels and pools if you plan to be there 5 or 7 years. Now, on your appraisal, bedrooms, bathrooms, upgrades, pools, storages, solar panels, extra living space, all of that adds value. But do not add a pool for $50,000, expect your house to be $50,000 more than a comparable house with bedrooms and bathrooms. Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that.
What are some of the pitfalls that new agents run into that you can kind of give them some game on?
For sure, man. I learned this the hard way. Man.
We just experienced this.
Man, don't expect your family and friends to be your first sale. Please don't. Funny story. This story hit like close to home. We had a family member that was staying with us that was in the process of looking for a home. She said, "Hey, Mesiah, I'm looking." This was right when I was getting licensed. I was going to be licensed in 2 weeks. I'm just waiting for my license to come back. We looking at houses. We looking at them together. We go over a budget. Man, she went and got another agent.
Ooh.
That was before my first sale. So that could have put a very bad taste in my mouth. But as with everything I've experienced in life, it set a tone that I don't expect that. I'm grateful if it happens, but I don't expect that. So new agents should not expect family and friends to be their first sale. That's number one pitfall. Number two, this is not like anything you've done. This is not like a YouTube advertisement that says you can work 2 hours a week and make $200,000. This is not. This is nights. This is weekends. This is balancing. So you and your spouse, if you have one, even you and yourself, you should try to understand that real estate is not 40 hours a week. Do not expect to go in and do 40 hours a week and be successful in this business. Do not expect to work banker's hours in this business. You have flexibility, but that does not mean you work less.
I love that. And you mentioned some of the, like YouTube, right?
Yep.
Obviously, realtors are leveraging social media, Instagram in particular, and they're showing these, $750 million home listings and yada, yada, and they're, dressed to the nines. Is that the real deal? Is that what I should expect if I want to become a realtor?
Hold on. Let me answer this. 'Cause I just
I want him to answer it.
Go ahead, Mesiah.
Depends on where you live. If you're an agent that lives in South Lake, sure. But if you live where most of us live, that's fallacy and fantasy. That doesn't mean you can't market in those areas. But your farm, what we call a farm, right? Farm is all the animals you need to make sure you have what you need, right? That's going to be 10 to 15 miles from you. So your average price point is going to be 10 to 15 miles from where you currently reside. That's what your market is based on.
You asked in regards to the realtors leveraging social media. I had an experience recently with one of them social media realtors who was in my neck of the woods.
Oklahoma?
Whatever. And I thought, all right, check him out. Like, all right, cool. And I'm real big on people's attitudes when it comes to trying to get something done. And I was like, He started talking, and he's like, yeah, let me give him my phone number. Like, here's an email address. And he had this defeatist attitude. And I thought,
why?
Why?
Man, I don't know.
Just exchange contact information.
He had a defeated attitude in regards to like trying to get something done. You know where I live, and you know what's going on up there. And he was talking, and he didn't have a bad attitude. Like it wasn't like a nasty conversation, but it's just like I was just like, bro, like we live in ground zero, given the announcements of where I live at. Like it's about to explode where I live at. How in the world? In my head, he's talking like, how in the world are you going to make it with this type of attitude, bro? Like, the world is about to come here to where we live at. Like, you should be Johnny on the spot on everything. I say all that to say he's one of those realtors, dressed to the nines, cool videos, all this stuff. And as he was talking, I thought to myself, I will never talk to you again. I don't care. Hey, here's my email address. I thought, I'll write it, but I will never use this email address ever.
Well, I bring it up because, you have a lot of young people that leverage YouTube and Instagram and things like that. And I think it's important to understand, puff and fodder, right? Like, not everything that you see is that glitz and glamour, right? Like, it's not I'm going to work 2 hours and then make $200,000. Like, this is... No. You're working.
This is hands in the dirt.
Yeah, this is endless hours, and it's hard. It's hard, to build up a clientele base, to have, 20, 40 listings in a year. Like that takes a lot of work. You know what I mean? I kind of want you to talk about that building up a book of business, networking, relationships, all that, so that people have a true idea of what it takes to become a realtor,
Yeah.
a successful realtor.
I got you, because that's what we're talking about for visionaries, right? Success, right?
Yep.
So the first thing that you can do, social media, a great agent, Rogers Healy, his stuff is everywhere. I was fortunate enough to be invited to an event that he was at. And he said social media is your business card now. So it's not that you can't do it, but someone should be able to know, like, and trust you before they ever pick up the phone and call. Because it's going to take somebody 8 to 10 interactions to decide if they want to work with you. North Texas has something like 20-some thousand agents.
A realtor on every corner.
Every corner. So CVS, Walgreens, and a realtor. Bro, you're going to find them. So you have to understand where you fit in this market. And just like sales, so this is where that sales experience come in, what makes you unique? What do we have in common? What do we share? And if we don't share those things, what makes me want to share them with you? What makes you want to invite you? I get invited to birthday parties, quinceañeras. I got some 15-year-old quinceañera liquor that I got from one of my clients. That's where you want to be. And you leverage social media to reach people, to scale yourself so they can make a decision on whether or not they want to do business with you. So it's not about the glitz and glam. You should appear the same way that you should show up to your showings, whether it's a $200,000 house, whether it's $1 million house, because somebody's going to be able to see through that veil that you got really quickly.
I think that's the important thing, right? Like, we got to understand as an audience, right? Like, what I see you post on social media is several different takes. It's editing.
It's the Matrix.
It's the lighting. It's the makeup, or
Yep.
if you're female, you know what I'm saying? But when I meet you at this house, do you have that same type of energy that you put out on social media?
Correct.
And I think that's important for people to understand, that you can't pose one way, right, or perform one way for the Instagram, right, and then be a
appear to
different
somebody
way.
else different.
Yeah, for sure.
Authenticity is what sets any professional, especially an agent, apart. People are about to buy their most expensive thing ever. Why should I trust you to guide me through that process? So for me, this is not about, buying a second beach house, or, getting a Z06 to do donuts in, or, buy my wife a bunch of purchases. I'm trying to put my family through college. And if you've interacted with me one time, you know that that's all this is for. I love what I do, and I want you to be able to build those memories. So that authenticity, what you get is what you get. I work hard, I play hard, I laugh, I joke, I have a good time. But Mesiah absolutely will take care of his business, and my clients will know, whether they work with me or not, that, hey, man, you've done everything that you can do.
So what should someone that's in the market or about to be in the market,
Yep.
and they don't have a realtor, what should they look for?
That's loaded, and I'm going to tell you why.
Or I'm talking about in terms of a realtor, like who?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like
Okay,
what
I got
type of realtor should I be looking for? Because like you said, there's 27,000 just here in
just a
Dallas.
ton,
You know
right?
what I mean? So like, how do I differentiate realtor A from B, C, D? Like, obviously, I understand taste and preference, right?
Yeah.
But what are some common things that I can ask if I'm interviewing, several different realtors to help make my decision?
This is what I do, and this is going to be a little sauce. But I encourage all my clients, ask me something recent and something that you know the answer to, and see if I know that. If I'm not keeping up with current events, how am I going to be able to advise you? If I can't even answer a question that you know the answer to, what makes you think I'm a subject matter expert? That's a good place to start. The second thing is your agent on time?
Ooh.
On time.
That's
Prompt,
my thing.
man.
That is my thing.
Prompt. Are they on time? Because everything that we do in the real estate business is time sensitive.
Because ain't nobody on salary checks.
Nobody.
No, it's not even. I mean, you have deadlines. Like you
Everything
miss
in a real estate transaction has a deadline, and they have contractual obligations and consequences.
Penalties.
thousands of dollars.
Yes, sir. Default is what we call it. So is your agent prompt? Also, if you're an agent, is your client prompt? I know you're trying to earn business, but you should absolutely set a professional standard for yourself. And any client that does not have the courtesy to let you know they're going to be late, which we really don't care, then you guys are interviewing each other. It should be a match because I'm trying to earn your business and you're trying to find somebody you can trust with that process. So find a current event, ask them a question that you know, and on the first meeting, are they prompt?
And let's flip it. Okay. The inverse.
Yep.
What should I immediately run in a different direction if I see? And you can't give me the same answers.
I know. So fortunately, I haven't had anybody run in the opposite direction.
I know
so
that's right.
good.
I know that's right.
So if I've been a buyer, right? I have a house. You guys have a house. The one thing that will make me run in the opposite direction, you're talking about as an agent, right? When
as a consumer.
As a consumer.
Yeah, like what's a red flag for an agent?
Agent that's not prepared, right? Basic things about a house. Before I go and show a house, I know the bedrooms, bathrooms, year, HOA, cost, whether or not it's overpriced or underpriced.
Square footage.
You're supposed to know those things. So we used to bring a bunch of paper to a showing, but now we can send it out electronically. You're supposed to know an ill-prepared agent is not prepared to help you.
Well, P, I think it's about that time.
I would agree. So we call this part of the show landing the plane, if you will.
Okay.
Again, thank you for your time, sir. And,
sure.
And before we do that, from a social media standpoint, those who are being introduced to you for the first time via YouTube or Spotify, Apple, whatever podcast platform you're listening on, how can they get a hold of you?
682. I'm about to be like Mike Jones out of 4843. Yeah, 682-232-4799. You can reach me every day between 8 and 8. Social media, Major Key Mesiah Valentine Real Estate. There's only gonna be one. Type it in Google. You can start typing Mesiah 1S. It's gonna try to correct it to 2 Valentine, and that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm trying to do better. Because I was spending my time working with clients, but I realized that, after Mr. Healy had said that real estate is your business card.
Social media,
is your business card. I need a little bit better business card. So all social media, Mesiah Valentine, you'll find me.
Gotcha. So one of the questions as we get ready to wrap this thing up, we ask everybody who's on the show. It's you, and there's an imaginary round table. You get to have 5 other seats at the table. The only caveat, if you will, is that you can't have Jesus at your table. That's too easy, especially with your name.
Hell, boy.
Outside of that, who would you like to have at your table, dead or alive?
Dead or alive. So, this is going to sound so cliche. I'm a big music dude, right?
Okay.
So, everybody's choice, Pac, Biggie, right?
Both of them?
That's everybody's choice.
Okay.
Okay. Keep going.
I would love to sit down and talk to somebody like J. Cole.
We've had J. Cole on the show.
Yeah, J. Cole on the show.
The reason why J. Cole not only found his lane, but he found his lane his way.
You know what's crazy, bro?
What's up?
Promise you. Right before we got out here, I was listening to J. Cole.
Man,
I'm a big J. Cole fan.
Come up. Forest Hill Drive, bro. Yep. The reason why is because your artistry or what you're trying to create, I think I know who J. Cole is and never met the man.
Well, I'm a big J. Cole fan. Shout out to Drew for putting me on to J. Cole. But I was, getting ready for the show or whatever, and it just popped in my head that, was it the Baby or Lil Baby?
Oh, the one.
Oh, yeah,
which one?
No, which one is from North Carolina?
The Baby.
The Baby,
yeah,
right?
Baby.
And he was like, I'm the best rapper out of North Carolina. I was like, really, bro? But anyways.
He had one verse on a Dreamville album that he went hard on. But other than that, yeah.
Yeah, but like,
he's got the scarlet letter on him right now. Yeah. That's another conversation. Sorry. So J. Cole, there's J. one. Cole. You got 4 more seats.
Yep. I want to know what it's like to impact history. So somebody like Harriet Tubman will be amazing. Right? How do you convince people?
Okay.
How do you convince people whom you've never met, that have only heard about you in lore, convince you to follow them? Can you imagine what type of leader that is?
Well, think about this too. I mean, I watched what's Will Smith's movie, Emancipation.
Yep.
Running through, and obviously that's a little bit different of a setting because they were in Louisiana.
Yep.
But there ain't no street lights. You understand what I'm saying? You're guided by the stars at nighttime. Like the leadership to have all these people travel with you, to the Underground Road. Like, big ups to her for real.
That's leadership that cannot even be quantified.
Yeah.
Right. And then also find out true. Was the railroad really underground, or did you have some people you knew? Right. You know what I'm saying? I really want to know. And she would be the only person to be able to tell.
Secret society, man. You know how this go.
It's underground.
You know how this go. That's two.
Yeah. Everybody's gonna put this, but I want to sit down and smoke one with my boy Barack. I want to know college Barack. I want to know the parody from Key and Peele Barack. I want to know the swag that he put on Michelle Barack. That's the Barack I want to know, because I want to know what it feels like to know you're polarizing a country that shouldn't be polarized this far from slavery, and debunk all those myths. I want to know what it's like to sit in a room and be talking with people that gonna tell you no before they even tell you, before you even put up a thought. I want to know.
I would imagine that there's a part of his personality that did not give a damn
At all. Two shits.
Like, I'm the president, homeboy.
You
can tell me no right now, but I'm the leader of the free world. Like, in case y'all hadn't realized that I'm in charge.
Yeah, but the
okay, you can tell me no today. I can figure out a way to circumvent this whole thing. Like, you're probably, your best bet is to work with me on this now. Right. Or otherwise, I will pull rank on you, and I ain't got to answer to nobody. I'm the president.
Right.
But the pressure, right, that he had to live up to, not only being the president, right, but to be a black president, the first black president, husband.
Can we lie and say he might be the only?
I don't know.
Ooh, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, let's
whole other conversation. I mean, I just think, like, as we mentioned him, right?
That's a lot of weight, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight, but like he play, obviously, he's always cool as a cucumber and calm and collected, but
in front of the camera.
But there is a part of that personality. He's from Chicago, and Michelle's from Chicago, but there is a part of that personality where, like, I'm gonna say this, and hopefully it comes out right. There's a part of that personality somewhere in there that maybe only those who are super close to him get to see. There's a wild animal in there. There's like, I ain't taking nothing off of nobody.
What you gonna say?
I ain't taking nothing off of nobody. This is what I'm going to do. Hell or high water, I'm doing this. Like, that ain't a job you sign up for to where, like, the first person tells you no, you're not easily, like, swayed. Like, nah, like, in the depths of his soul, he made that commitment to himself before anybody else knew about
100%.
it. So, like you said, me going in the room, talk to a bunch of people who are going to tell me no before I even open my mouth, somewhere in there is a part of that mindset where, like, I don't give a damn what y'all say. I'm the president. We doing this one way or the other. Hey, what's the saying? It cost you a little, gonna cost you a lot. Either way, it's gonna cost you.
Man, education costs.
Yeah. All right, so you got Harriet Tubman, J. Cole, Barack.
Yep. I'm a big fan of this athlete, and I'm going way back because the whole world was against him.
Jack Johnson.
Jesse Owens.
Ooh.
Okay.
And let me tell you.
That's a first. Mm-hmm. That's a first.
Bruh.
Come on, Mo. You know where I'm at.
The whole world is looking at you. What are you going to do in that moment?
Show my ass.
The whole thing. Ankles, everything. Jesse Owens had the biggest nuts that I ever seen because he showed up in a way that let them know not only am I amazing, not only am I a great athlete, not only did I work hard, but I got a humility that won't be shaken by your opinion of me. And that's how I try to carry myself, because people will say, like, I gave myself my name. Who do you think you are? Who do you think I am? Who do you know me to be? And I think Jesse Owens embodied a lot of the resiliency and preparation that comes with knowing you're great at something and the world is going to judge you under a very small microscope and knowing you're not too big for the moment.
We hadn't talked about enough on this show. We've interviewed a lot of great people. We've talked about different people at these imaginary tables. And this is maybe some David Goggins-ish type stuff, but like greatness a lot of times is out on the edge.
Oh, it's 100%
and it's not,
on the edge.
And it's not the fact, like, you don't have to be arrogant or off-putting in regards to it.
It's your disposition.
But there's got to be something, I always tell you, there's got to be an internal mechanism in you somewhere, somehow. If you're really trying to do something great, or like if you're trying to go somewhere where no man has gone before, whatever it is you're choosing to do, there has to be some type of internal mechanism where it's like, I will not be denied, period. Like whatever it is I got to go through to get through. What do you say? It's on the other side of what you're saying.
Everything that you want is on the other side of fear.
There you go. There has to be some type of internal mechanism where, like, I'm going to get this accomplished, period. Whatever obstacles are in the way along the journey for me to get this accomplished, bring them on. Let's go. Like, let's get to it right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to accomplish this, period.
Yeah. All right, so last one. Who's the last seat at the table?
Yeah.
By the way, I would have also agreed Jackie Robinson too, but
yeah, I'm just not a baseball guy. If I was a little bit faster, I would have. Man, I love track and field.
I mean, my man Jesse Owens out here just burning the track up in front of Hitler.
Yo, man, them nuts, bro. Them major league gonads. You know what I'm talking about? So
the true definition of hold my beer. Watch this.
Hey,
the true definition of hold my beer.
I remember doing my school project on Jesse Owens because of what it meant in its historical context. In that same vein, this guy was very soft-spoken, but when he spoke, everybody listened. Small man, Nelson Mandela. I think he had one of the most delicate, powerful voices we have ever seen. To be imprisoned for nothing, when you are trying to just simply look out for your people,
just for existing,
that let me know. And I'm a big analogy and parables guy. The way that you are treated is not always how you've acted. You guys got to keep that in mind. The way that you're treated is not how you are, or how you have acted. And I think from a leadership, most people think of leadership as being demonstrative, being boisterous, having a charisma about you. But that's not in your volume. That's not in anything other than how you carry yourself and doing what you say you're going to do. So if I sat at the table with them, oh, man, we had to get Nelson some water because I don't know if he drank. But the rest of us,
I just need some water.
I can guarantee you don't
water.
drink. I can guarantee you that. Man, that's a hell of a list. J. Cole, Harriet Tubman, Jesse Owens, Nelson Mandela, and Barack Obama. That's a phenomenal list. Phenomenal table. I can only imagine the conversations and where they would go.
Yeah.
So, before we land the plane, I again just want to say big ups to you for jumping into the lab. I'm going to switch things up, P.
By all means, proceed, sir.
I'm curious.
Yep.
What's your deepest fear? I love that. I love that. I love that.
As soon as you said, I already knew what was going to happen because he and I have had multiple conversations.
What's my deepest fear?
Not much.
It's going to sound really bad, but I haven't had a chance to process fear yet.
Oh, that's a cold-ass answer, boy. That's why I rock with you, Messiah.
I mean that, dog. Trepidation, sure. A little nervousness, occasionally. Because it's uncertainty. But I really haven't had a chance to process fear, man. For as much encouragement I've had just as many people tell me I shouldn't be, I can't be, I won't be.
Don't be.
Don't be. That's another one. Any ont you want, any contraction you want. I really, honestly, and I'm not saying that just because, but if I really, really had to think about it, just really, really had to think about it, will I be a father my kids can be proud of? I don't know anything about having multiple kids. I sure don't know about growing up around women. Said my mom, I got 3 daughters, right? Have I raised them like Chris Rock? Can I? The what do you say? The litmus test is
Keep him off the pole.
Keep him off the pole and clear heels, right? That's what my boy said. So I'm joking, but honestly, outside of that, I really have not had a lot of time to process what is fear, because fear makes you immobile.
Love it.
I haven't had a chance to do that.
And that's why we had to have him on the show right there.
I'm telling you.
All right, so in case you don't know, 3-3, the Vision Lab has a magical time machine.
Okay.
Okay. What advice would Mesiah Valentine be giving himself from 5 years ago? So you're 5 years younger.
Yep.
You're looking back and you're talking to that 32...
21. 31-year-old.
31-year-old.
This guy.
31-year-old, right?
Yeah.
What advice are you telling that younger Mesiah?
Work for yourself sooner. The freedom that comes and the responsibility, I cannot quantify you for what that feels like to wake up and know you're going to have a challenge. I like to be challenged. I like to be challenged in school. I like to be challenged in sports. I like to be challenged in relationships. I'm a problem solver. I would tell myself to work for yourself sooner and get you some Bitcoin, bro. Get you some Bitcoin. If I had a crystal ball, man, I would have bought me. What was Bitcoin 5 years ago? A couple thousand.
2,500.
I saw a guy on social media the other day. He said something just told him, like, okay, I never heard of it, but something just told him, like, okay, accept it. He said he was working as a pizza delivery guy. Said the guy called, ordered his pizza. He went to go deliver the pizza. So he showed up. And this is like 5-6 years ago. So he showed up. Dude was like, look, man, I don't have the cash. I can pay you in Bitcoin. And he's like, what the hell is that? And he said the guy gave him like a 7-minute breakdown of what Bitcoin was. And he said, man, he said I had a decent night he said I had a decent night that day in tips. And he said, so I paid for the pizza in cash, and the dude gave me Bitcoin. Cashed that bad boy out before everything crashed out.
Come on, bro.
He said something just told me, like you know, he said the pizza order was like $15-$16. He's like, I had a decent day. All right, cool. Basically, he's like, what do I have to lose? Like, what's $15-$16 out of my pocket?
And did he get a full Bitcoin? He
Dude paid for his pizza in Bitcoin.
No, I know. Did he get one Bitcoin or did he get
whatever
$15?
Whatever $17 and change with the Bitcoin was.
Okay, so then that guy invested in Bitcoin because he found out about it. I got you. Yeah.
And it was dirt cheap. Before it was a craze, before there was all these other stuff. So
obviously, dude is doing well now.
Very well. I would work for myself sooner and invest in Bitcoin.
All right, now we're gonna make you cross that magical age of 40. So you're 5 years older.
Yep.
What advice is the older version of Mesiah? What advice is he giving you today?
Gotcha. Ooh, man. Can't think about getting 40 yet, bro.
Easy.
I can't think about getting 40 yet, bro.
Easy.
What am I? So that means I'm at where I think I would be in that time, right?
And he's looking back and
he's
coaching you today,
right
giving
now.
you advice.
He giving you the, like, hey, dog. Shh.
That's such a quality question, bro.
Quality show.
Man, yes, it is, bro. This has been enlightening. It's been liberating. I don't really talk a lot about myself because I'm in the business of helping people. But this show is amazing, man. What am I giving myself? What advice am I giving myself? On the next episode of The Vision Lab, Mesiah tells what advice am I giving myself? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I say that because right now it's hard for me to know where I'm going to be because I got a couple of things I know I'm good at and a couple of things I'm trying. I don't know how they're going to turn out. But I would just tell myself, be fearless and dream big.
There you
Don't
go.
let anything stop you from what it is that you're trying to do. And if there's an opportunity and it makes sense, pursue it.
You know, I love the answer, but I love that question because so many of us have dreams, goals, aspirations, and visions on where we want to be, right? But when you put your mindset on the frequency of here's who I am, and then you're forced to look backwards, like you are existing as that individual, right? So now that actually puts it in a quantum realm, you know, where this is a possibility. Whatever vision you saw of that older version, maybe, you know, you got a full beard or
it's never gonna grow.
No,
in,
it's
just,
baby face assassin.
It's not
over
gonna
there.
grow in. Bro.
I know, but you know, you're forcing yourself to look. And we had Stuman on the show last year.
Shout out to Stuman.
And he does an exercise where you look at the most elite version of Ryan Cuffey, Mesiah Valentine, right? And you that elite version of yourself, you take a step to the right? You close your eyes, you visualize, and you take a step into that person, and that person says, you know, like, what would you be? How would you dress? What do your shoes look like? What kind of clothes are you wearing? What kind of cologne do you have on? You know, how do you walk? How do you talk? Who are the people that you surround yourself with? So it's a fantastic exercise because I truly believe that you put yourself in that state, right? Then ultimately that will happen. That will come into fruition. So there's countless examples of it on a daily basis that a lot of times we just kind of overlook. But, you know, we had Dr. Brown on the show, Les Brown's daughter,
Dr. Brown.
And you are not, none of us are where we are, including our visionaries, right? None of us are where we are right now by mistake. It's a byproduct of all the decisions that we made up until this point, right? And so if you can visualize yourself and have that conversation with yourself, looking back, it puts you in that state. So I absolutely love that question. But
may I say something?
Absolutely.
That exercise is something I'm going to do because I'll be 200%. I haven't planned or looked much past about a year or two, and it's just the way that my brain works. I'm not a person that has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things on my plate. I'm a 1, 2, 3, get those done, move on to something else. But if I'm leaving here with one thing that I'm going to do, and I love homework, I'm going to do an exercise of who would I be at 41. I think that's I'm glad you said that because I have not planned out that far.
Well, here's the beautiful thing about this, and we've talked about it on the show, is that this is out in the ether, right? It's going to be on the internet.
Yep.
It never goes anywhere. So 5 years from now, you can look back and say, did I do what I said I was going to do?
Yep.
Was I fearless?
Yep.
You know, and then walking through barriers, doors, whatever, you can actually hold yourself accountable. So I absolutely love the fact that it's, you know, that YouTube exists. So you can come back and see if you actually check the box.
I know, but I have to your point, you have to start putting those things down. So beginning of the year, man, I got me a manifestation journal, man.
Yeah.
I did not have one before. I am not a writer. Like, I am not a writer at all. I put everything on my phone, but it's something magical that happens when you take the time to write it down.
When you write it down and put it on paper, like a physical form.
Yep.
When you put it on paper, a physical form, you'd be surprised how much closer you get to it.
Bruh, I did not realize the power in that. So I'm doing the 369, right?
Project 369?
Doing 369 3 times in the morning, 6 times.
Oh, hold on. Did you read Project 369?
I skimmed it. I'm
Bro,
not going to front.
I just got through reading it.
Is it hard?
No.
No, I'm saying like.
We can have separate conversations because I don't know about this.
No,
I'm deep in the weeds on stuff.
Project 369 is a book. So I'm curious now.
Yep.
How did you learn about 369?
Good partner of mine named Philip. So he's a Forex
Garner?
trader.
Oh, okay.
Philip Branch. He went to the church. Mom and dad went to the church.
Shout out to all the Forex traders. We love y'all.
Boy, he's killing it. Man, bro, he could tell you a phenomenal story about his story and his why. But we always share and talk about what makes us better. That's why that's my dog. Like, we talk as often as we talk. And he said, man, I've had a lot of turmoil, dealing with a whole lot right now. He said, man, I've got to be able to speak life into myself.
Mm.
And he said, bro, just do you a favor. I'm going to give you 3 things, a 3, a 6, and a 9. He said, you go do what you want to do with that. Did my research on it. It is powerful.
Yeah.
Not because of someone else, but that means that you cannot forget what it is that you are trying to manifest and bring about, and all of your objectives add to that goal. So 3 times in the morning, 6 times at lunchtime, around noontime, 9 times
before you go to bed.
Yep.
So do you understand? We'll have to talk about this offline, but 2 things. Project 369 is a book, and it is not Christian or faith based, but it is littered with Bible verses throughout the book, right? And it is, you do your affirmations 3 times in the morning, 6 times, midday,
Yep.
9 times before you go to sleep. Is the last thing that you do.
Yep.
But it's the frequency, right? 369, and those are the only. And I'm probably going to butcher this, but those are the only rooted numbers. I can't remember the term, but any number that exists will either come back to 3, 6, or 9.
Correct.
And so that's why it's like I can't remember like when you what is it called?
Rooted is a good word.
Rooted numbers.
Rooted is a good word. It really it's the essence of all things in the universe.
It's deep, bro. It's deep. I'll get you. I'll buy you a copy.
We can talk about it.
And even if you're not a believer, right? One of the things they hinge on is the Trinity, right? What does that actually mean? How it has correlation to functionality in the body, all that stuff. So it's very powerful. So I am writing. I'm not a writer, but
Welcome to
I
the
am
club,
writing
Chief.
now, man.
Come on.
I'm opening my eyes, trying to grow and be better and doing what it is that I set out to do. But I need to get it a little bit further.
Yeah, well,
in the future.
We'll smoke the rest of these and chop it up a little bit more offline. Sure. But obviously, want to say a big ups to you. Thank you so much for jumping into the lab with us. As always, just a ton of a great conversation. I love seeing you doing so well. I know that the next 5 years it's going to be even bigger. So. Visionaries, thank you again for tuning in to the Vision Lab podcast. Want to remind you guys that each one of our guests are dropping nuggets of wisdom here on the Trail of Life. Ultimately, my friends, it's up to you to pick them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He is Ryan Cuffey. Thank you again to our guest, my dog.
Appreciate it.
Mesiah Valentine, and we will see you guys on the next episode of the Vision Lab podcast.
Blessings.